All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling a really powerful idea, one that could totally flip how we think about our economy, our jobs, and even our own self worth. It's a revolution in the very definition of value. So let's start with a huge question, one that economists have been wrestling with for centuries. Where does value actually come from? I mean, is it the hours you clock in, the sweat you put into a project, or is it something else completely? For the longest time, the answer seemed pretty straightforward: labor. The value of a thing was all about the work it took to create it. But a newer theory is shaking things up, saying, hold on a second, value isn't about labor at all. It's about demand. It's about how much something is needed. And that's the big debate we're digging into today. Okay, so first things first, let's really get into that old answer, the theory that has pretty much shaped the world as we know it, the labor theory of value. The labor theory of value, you'll hear it called LTV, is a heavyweight idea. We're talking about thinkers like Adam Smith and Karl Marx. The core concept is simple. The more socially necessary work hours you put into making something, the more valuable it is. It kind of makes sense on the surface, right? Hard work should equal high value. But what if that whole idea is built on a shaky foundation?
Well, the source material we're looking at argues that this theory is actually built on a few core illusions. You can see some examples right here on the slide. A huge one is this idea that value is just labor time. It completely ignores whether anyone actually wants or needs the thing you just spent all that time making. And the results of that kind of thinking, as the slide points out, it can lead to things like a widening wealth gap.
And believe me, this isn't just some dusty old economic theory. This flawed foundation has very real, tangible costs. It's an idea that is actively shaping our society and, well, often in some pretty destructive ways. Think about it. When we decide that labor is more important than need, we end up in this upside-down world full of paradoxes. We have giant warehouses full of stuff while people are going hungry. Why? Because the system is focused on production, not on actually fulfilling needs. It creates this toxic divide between people who are considered able laborers and those who aren't, which means that absolutely vital work, like taking care of our kids and our parents, gets massively devalued. And this skewed logic, it really hits home. Just take a look at this quote. When your entire economic system is obsessed with labor output, raising a family can start to look like a burden on a spreadsheet, an economic cost, instead of what it is, one of the most incredibly valuable contributions anyone can make to society. It's a really profound and honestly troubling consequence. Okay, so if the old theory is so broken, what's the fix? Well, this brings us to the revolution, a whole new way of looking at things called demand value theory. Demand value theory, or DTV, just flips the entire script. It says, value doesn't come from the labor you put in, it comes from the demand you meet. The more intense and widely recognized a need is, the more valuable the solution becomes. It's a simple little switch, but wow, the implications are absolutely massive. So, DTV is built on three main pillars. Number one, demand is what creates value, period. Number two, wealth isn't about hoarding a bunch of stuff. True wealth is having the resources you need to live a fulfilled life. And number three, capital has to do two things at once. Yes, it can seek profit, but it can only be successful by actually fulfilling real human needs. So what does this all mean for our future? This is where it gets really exciting. Let's take a look at what a world built on demand value theory might actually be like. I mean, could this be a roadmap to a better society? This theory views history as this big, evolving spiral of what we value. As you can see here, we started with what's called personality capital, things like trust, community, family bonds. Then we moved into eras obsessed with physical stuff like land and then abstract credit like stocks. The prediction here is that we're now swinging back around, entering a new era that returns to what matters most, our shared humanity. This is what the theory calls common personality capital, the combined value of all our skills, our empathy, and our creativity. So what does that look like in the real world? Well, picture a system with universal personality accounts, where your positive human contributions, like empathy or creativity, have actual tangible value. Imagine AI systems not just optimizing factories, but matching human needs with human skills. In this world, childcare isn't a cost. It's recognized as a personality investment right, and wealth itself is redefined as a celebration of all our different human talents. And before you say this all sounds like science fiction, we're already seeing trends pointing this way. For example, some projections, like this one, show huge growth, over 17%, in new kinds of jobs that mix technology with uniquely human skills. You see, the rise of AI isn't making us obsolete. It's actually making our humanity more valuable than ever. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one big question to chew on. We are heading into an age of unbelievable technological power, an age where AI can do a lot of the labor we used to think only we could do. So in this new world, could it be that our empathy, our creativity, our ability to care for each other, could our personality finally be more valuable than our physical work? It's a revolutionary thought, and according to demand value theory, it might just be our future.